Hi guys, my name is Serena Poon and welcome to my show, Serena Loves. As a celebrity chef, nutritionist, and entrepreneur, I'm incredibly passionate about helping others live their best life through methods I call culinary alchemy, which is a combination of education and integrative and functional nutrition and healing and intuitive energy. So, with each episode, I'm going to share with you the inspiring stories of some amazing people, entrepreneurs from all different backgrounds, who will share the challenges they've had in their personal journey to get to the success they have today. And today, I'm so excited to introduce a fellow wellness warrior, Elissa Goodman, who has the most incredible story. I mean, you're a cancer survivor, you're a cancer thriver, and now you are taking your passion to the masses. So, I'd love to just dive into that, like where you started. And I know it's cancer, but, that's something that we connect on since, that's sort of how I started my journey as well, even though for me it was my parents, and
right.
for you and your first husband, Mark.
Right.
So let's talk about it, if you don't mind.
Yeah, it's been really interesting. I mean, the cancer world that I've seen over the years is just is getting worse and worse. It's not getting better.
Yeah.
As we know, autoimmune, all these health issues. So when I was diagnosed with cancer,
right.
I basically had never been well growing up. I was always sick, always
right.
getting all kinds of ailments.
Oh, okay.
I was labeled the sick kid.
Oh, okay.
So I was always feeling behind the eight ball, chronically fatigued, and then that kind of seeped into my sort of soul and my sort of emotional well-being. Like I wasn't good enough, I couldn't keep up.
Yeah, because you're like labeled like that.
Totally. It was awful. Like it was so I didn't feel like I measured up.
Right.
And so it was a double whammy. I think my immune system wasn't strong, and then my, ability to really feel good about myself at that deep level wasn't happening. So when I was diagnosed with cancer, I realized, wow, my life really isn't working.
Right.
And so that's when I really dove into changing my diet. I became vegan, not the healthiest vegan, as we see these days. A lot of people aren't so healthy when they go strictly vegan.
There's different, you can be plant-based and plant-forward, and then there's different types of vegan.
Right.
So.
And then you miss nutrients and not get enough protein. And, But I did the vegan. I was a big juicer because I had just moved to LA from New York. And so there was a juice place called Beverly Hills Juice.
Okay.
That place it's the oldest juice place in LA.
Okay.
So I used to go there and do my juices. I did colonics, I did acupuncture, I did yoga.
Everything.
All
the stuff I love.
Everything that we love. Yeah, everything that we do today, which is interesting. Never dreaming I would be getting into this as a profession.
Right.
But so I did all of that, and I did a little bit of the Western. I did half radiation that they recommended, no chemo, because I hadn't had kids yet. So I was a little bit terrified of the chemo drugs.
Of course.
Yeah.
And you had which type of cancer?
Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Right.
So I healed and then went on to have 2 healthy girls. And 11 years later, my husband was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Right.
That's when my world was really shattered. I mean, in terms of what am I going to do now? I have 2 girls at home who have 2 parents who've had cancer and one who didn't make it.
Right.
So I knew that these girls were going to be traumatized, as well as how was I going to be able to really get them healthy, teach them, healthier ways, and also emotionally help them get past the trauma. So I went back to school and got certified in Eastern and Western nutrition. And it was the best thing I ever did, but I really did it for the family.
Right.
I didn't do it to go into the profession.
Right.
And so when I graduated, Cafe Gratitude had come down from San Francisco. And so they basically asked me to put a healthy eating program together, like a cleanse. I knew nothing about any of that, but it was really fun because their food was healthy.
Yes, love them.
Yeah, I love them too, still. And I basically did that for almost 4 years. And then I did it with M Cafe. So a little bit like, I didn't cook, but I was able to put the healthy foods together that could help people sort of lower their inflammation, feel better in, 5 days, mentally alert, just more energized, sleep better, skin better, just felt really just eating real food like we both talk about.
Using food as medicine that it was intended to be. So.
Absolutely. And I just, over the years, I then got Hashimoto's hypothyroidism.
Yeah.
Then for 21 years, but then I've just recently gone into remission.
Which is huge.
I know.
Congratulations. It
feels
huge.
great.
Yeah.
And I have never felt better than I do today. I mean, my energy and mental clarity and everything feels so amazing. And it's hard to believe that at my age, I feel so good and that I didn't all those years when I was younger, when I was supposed to.
Right.
So, but I feel very lucky because I really dove into, lowering my toxin loads and building my immunity and using food as medicine, getting the nutrients at a cellular level that I feel like people just don't get these days, right?
No, they don't. And, and they can. A lot of it is just about having the awareness and the education and just sort of being guided, right? I mean, when you work with people, I'm sure it's the same as with me, you just realize, gosh, they just need a little bit of info, and they need to just know what works for them because we're all the same, but we're not, right?
Right.
So it does have to be personalized. Your story is just, it resonates with me so much, because you have your two girls who had two parents who had cancer, and I, in my family, I'm one of those two girls,
Right.
And it's interesting what you say because I was going to go into law school, and I was going to be an attorney, and then that's what happened with my parents. My dad got sick, and I'd always had an interest in nutrition, and food was always such a heart-centric part of our household and our family that, we're all just foodies, but our foodies for the taste more than the health, right? Even though some of that Chinese culture and philosophy, there is a lot of, you do all your vegetables and your proteins and it is healthy, but they don't realize how much of the sauces, and the spices and they use are so unhealthy, these like packaged preserved goods. And so for me, it's kind of along the same way, I didn't think so. And then that's what happened with my dad, that he got sick and then my mom right after. And that's what just propelled me to the direction I'm in right now. So I feel like we're like a soul connected,
Soul sisters.
Yes.
I know, it's true because I haven't met a lot of people who have had two parents who have been diagnosed with cancer.
And I'm lucky my mom's still here.
Your dad passed away.
He did. He passed. And then 2 months after he passed, my mom was diagnosed. And they were so young also, like 45 and 48.
Oh, that is same. He was 45. I mean, that's way too young.
It is.
Right. And
it's way too young. And, and I had actually another guest on here and she had cancer when she was just a couple months ago. She was 35.
Right.
And it's just, I love that you're in this space with me and so many other people who are saying, look, it doesn't have to happen. Like there's everything we need is out there. Everything is in Mother Nature. It's just right in front of us. You eat whole foods, you eat clean foods, and you can really truly heal yourself.
Right, absolutely. And also not to think that cancer is your destiny.
No, exactly.
Yeah, that's like just what you're saying. I mean, it's you can prevent it, but also it's not your destiny. You can heal from this and get yourself to a better place. Any of the health issues.
Sure, and like Hashimoto's. So tell us a little about that because I actually had a message just today with someone who had recently been diagnosed and I said, we can get through this.
Right.
Don't worry, don't stress, don't get depressed. We can get through this. But you now have, and tell us a little bit about what you've done to get to remission.
It's interesting. I don't know about you, but I'm into all the modalities.
Like I was saying. Telling you, soul.
Right. Like I worked with a medical medium, Anthony William, for a while. I mean, he was the one that sort of got me on the road to really think about what I needed to do at a deep, deep level. And I used some herbal remedies that he suggested to lower my toxin loads.
Good.
Natural antibiotics, fungals, virals.
Yes.
And then I used liquid supplements to build my immune system. And there were certain supplements that I had used in combination with other, like a multivitamin or, some mineral with zinc in it. But he had me doing liquid zinc, which was super powerful.
Yeah.
Bioactive silver.
Yes,
which,
every day.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I did it for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, is that really okay for you to ingesting silver? Different from colloidal, as we know, but and then a liquid B12, which is crucial, and also licorice root extract was something that really saved my life. It's a natural antiviral, but it also helps with the adrenals, and high doses of C. You got to be careful with that a bit. I'm not saying that everyone would go on this protocol, but
but for you,
for me, it was And
even with the licorice, right? There's you can't do too much for too long of a period. But, everyone's different, and, you're monitoring it, and you have the knowledge that you know how much to take. So.
Yeah, because people with high blood pressure should not be doing licorice root, or, licorice root tea is just is good too. But it was so fascinating when I did this protocol, and in 3 months, I went off my thyroid medication.
Wow.
And I had been on thyroid medication for 21 years.
Wow.
So, and I was like, what is happening? I felt so amazing. And then it kept me going, once you start to feel good.
Of course,
And I was also eating much better and really focusing in on my gut.
Right.
And healing that, even though I had been taking probiotics and L-glutamine or certain things that were supposed to heal my gut.
Sure.
I sort of dove in more deeply.
Oh yeah. A lot of the times people think they just need to pop a probiotic. And I'm always like, it's not that simple.
It's not that simple.
There's layers to it, and you kind of have to understand, but I feel like once you've explained to someone, why you need some prebiotics and why you have to have it this way, and, they get it, and they see and feel the difference. So. Yeah. So you started working with the medical medium 2 years ago?
I 2.5 years. Well, it'll be 3 years this fall. And then I was part of his practitioner group for a year, which was fascinating. And then I went on to talk to functional doctors about it because my blood work did not show that I was healed. So I felt fantastic, and I didn't want to go back on my meds, but my blood work showed I still had antibodies. My thyroid numbers were a little out of whack. So then functional doctors were testing me for parasites, which I did end up having a little giardia, which was interesting, which I had no symptoms from.
Right.
And I healed that, then my antibody numbers came down.
Wow, that's great.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then I just started to support my thyroid more just through nutritional deficiencies that we tested for, which is, I think today is the thing to do.
Yeah, actually I've been having clients do that for years.
Right.
It's something that, sometimes our Western doctors, I've personally, you might have felt pushback from them too when you have your clients test for these nutritional deficiencies and micronutrient panels or whatnot. But I find them so informative and so helpful, and it's really sort of that's your base, and it's easy to do. It's just, one vial of blood. Exactly. That's all it is, But,
exactly.
But you get it because we're kind of in the same space about integrating both. So.
Yeah. I am frustrated as you are with just what we see coming into, clients who come in and they have this basic blood work and they're having symptoms, but the blood work shows that they're fine.
Yeah, a CBC doesn't tell you anything, really. So.
And even when they just test certain thyroid numbers, maybe just TSH or just do the iron, strictly iron, but not ferritin or all the other stuff that you know about, that it just, they still, the doctor's you're fine. I don't really know what to do with you.
Right, because they're you're still within the chart, of the highs and lows. And so it's great to talk to somebody who really gets it too, because I definitely have been frustrated with that. But, we're chipping away. It's much better now than it has been, right?
True,
in the past.
Much better.
So much better.
Thank God for functional, integrative, and people in the nutrition field like us who can really dive in and say, hey, you need these tests. It's really not okay that you're tired or you're sleep deprived or you're very hormonal or you can't get it, you're chronically fatigued. These things are not okay.
Yeah, and people just learn to live with it, right? And I feel like mindfulness is such a big part of your practice as well as it is mine because it's all inclusive, right? And so, that affects our bodies just as much. And I feel like it truly does work integratively with the food.
Yeah. There's a favorite book of mine. It's called Radical Remission. I've talked about it a lot. Have you heard of that?
No, actually I haven't read it. So now I'm putting on my book list.
It's awesome. Kelly Turner did her PhD, and it took her 10 years to do this book, and she interviewed stage 4 cancer cases. Oh, wow. And they healed themselves holistically. Wow. None of them did Western. So basically, there was, it's really fascinating. And she came up with 9 modalities of how they healed themselves. And out of the 9, 7 were emotional. Trauma, stress, just.
It affects our bodies so much. We really don't know. I think that's how my mom got cancer, to be honest.
With stress and...
I think so. Because there's no history in her family, and, it was rapid growing. When they dated it back from the size of the tumor, it was right when my dad was, dying and sickest.
And that was traumatic for her, right?
For all of us.
Yeah.
So it's so, as I said, it was interesting to hear a mother's perspective, right?
Yeah.
when you reference your daughters and, and I have the daughter perspective of how that feels, and it affects the whole family. So.
It does. It kind of pulls the rug out from underneath you, doesn't it? It's almost like, is life really safe here? I mean, when I work with clients, I ask them, I go back to birth. What was your birth like? Did your mom breastfeed you? Did you come into an environment that was loving and nurturing? Because I think when we come into environments that don't feel very safe, that's a whole big deal for our central nervous system, our emotional well-being. And we have that fear factor, maybe thinking, what's going on here in the world? Like, am I going to be safe? Am I going to be okay? And then also, did they have trauma? In their first 7 years of your life, your subconscious is fully downloaded. So a lot of the cases that I see are clients, they've had trauma.
And it's like their fight or flight mode was turned on back then, before they even knew what that meant or knew what it was. So
exactly. I mean, that is so big these days. I don't think people... We've just been dipping our toe into that part of it, right?
No, it's so true. I was speaking with someone who specializes in EFT, and she talked a lot about that, about how, that first few years, that's when everything is downloaded. That's when brain patterns are set, and I'm such a fan of, neuroplasticity and, learning how we can retrain and reprogram my brain. I'm sure you were too.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that.
No, I haven't really dived into that, so I'm interested.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Well, when we go to lunch, we'll talk about this because you will love it. It's right up your alley with everything else and everything that we're talking about.
Right. No, the emotional component, is just so huge.
And it's hand in hand.
We're not seeing a society also that is taking steps back to really, take care of themselves emotionally. I mean, I have a friend who talks about emotional hygiene.
I love that term.
I know.
That's great.
We brush our teeth, we wash our hair, right? We take showers, but do we emotionally take care of ourselves every day like that?
No, we don't. And that's why the slogan for Just Add Water for our product is simplify your self-care, because in my journey, and I'm sure you've done the same, we're taking care of everything else first and everyone else first and ourselves last, if we even get to the last,
Exactly.
And how that part of self-care is like brushing your teeth, it's like getting sleep, it's like taking your vitamin if you take supplements. I mean, it's critical to having that whole wellness. So
yeah, so critical. And with social media and just like
that's like a whole nother thing.
It is. It's really, I watch my girls and I'm like, oh, can I just take their phones away for a little while? Just so they can get that break. Because when we were growing up, we had more of that break.
Oh, yeah.
We had boredom. We had, we got to get to know ourselves.
Yes. And people, and, it's interesting. I feel like I have to turn on a different part of my brain. I'm not quite sure if it even exists to dive into the social media.
I know.
stuff,
I absolutely agree with you.
So it's not, if I'm being really honest, it's not that easy.
No.
For me. So
no, same.
But I really want to dive into some of the things that you're coming up with now, and the soup cleanse is huge and it's not new, but it's coming into its fifth year now.
Yeah, fifth year.
Let's talk about that a little bit because that's growing.
This has been really fun because I got involved in all these these programs where I was delivering food, cleanses, and then I decided, why don't I do my own program? So 4 years ago, we created this. It's soups, salads, tonics, lattes, fermented veggies. It's really a lot of food. It's not all about soup, but there are a lot of soups because I feel like people can digest them really well. And I'm trying to get nutrients into them, vegetables. So there's like 45 different vegetables in 5 days that you're eating. I know. That's pretty great.
So great.
So we deliver just in LA to 50 people every other week.
That's great.
And coming up in January, we're going to have 3 weeks in a row of soup cleanses because January is one of those months where everyone's like, I better get back into shape. It's their New Year's resolution. Right. So that has been really fun.
That's so great.
I love being able to feed people. So I put a lot of love, a lot of energy into, I'm also Reiki certified, so I do
both. I love it.
All of that. And I get to serve people this delicious, I'm also a foodie like you, so it has to taste good. And I get to serve people this food that, we deliver to them and they don't even have to think about for 5 days, which is so fun. And then I'm actually in the process of writing my next book. It's called Autoimmune Hacks. So it's how I healed from the Hashimoto's, which is the fastest growing autoimmune disease today. And then I'm coming up with a product that I'm trying to get out there as well. So yeah, there's a lot of fun things on the horizon.
That's so great. I can't wait. And when is this book supposed to come out?
Sometime next year.
That's so fun.
The Cancer Hack books took a lot out of me.
Yeah.
So
this book is amazing, though.
Thank you.
Yes, truly, congratulations for that. And that's something that needs to be shared.
Yeah.
You know, your wisdom and knowledge truly does need to be shared with the world. So
thank you.
Okay, well, I'm so grateful, and I want you back on. You know, when the book comes out.
Yeah.
You know, we talk so much. I talk too much. I wanted you to talk more. Tell us where we can find everything.
Yeah, it's ElissaGoodman.com.
Okay.
It's ELISSA Goodman.com. And so I have a website and social media, and I post about food like you do because I love it. Thank you. And just health tips on my Insta stories, and you know, I absolutely I love what I do.
You're amazing at it. You really are. It's amazing. Thank you guys so much for joining us at Serena Loves. This is Elissa Goodman at Elissa Goodman on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everything. And we'll see you next time on Serena Loves TV.